The November night was cold and silent as Theo Johnson's pickup rolled slowly down West 25th Street. He wasn't proud of what he was doing, following a woman in a wheelchair, but something inside him refused to drive away. For months, Vanessa had come to his diner every Tuesday asking for leftovers. A simple exchange, food that would have gone to waste, for a quiet thank you and a tired smile. But when she missed 3 weeks in a row, something inside Theo twisted with worry. Now, watching her push through cracked sidewalks under flickering streetlights, he saw how fragile she looked and how fiercely determined. 3 years ago, a drunk driver on I-90 had taken everything from her. Her legs, her career as a nurse, her fiancé, her savings, her future. Since then, she'd been surviving on disability checks and willpower. Every Tuesday, she rolled 15 blocks to Theo's diner, always polite, always grateful. Theo understood loss. The same stretch of highway had taken his wife, Laura. The diner had been her dream, and keeping alive had become his way of keeping her spirit close. Maybe that's why Vanessa mattered, because she reminded him of the kind of kindness Laura had believed in. Vanessa turned down a narrow alley. Theo parked and followed on foot, boots silent against the wet pavement. The alley opened into an old warehouse lot. Dark, forgotten. He watched her knock twice on a side door. It opened, she disappeared inside, and the door shut tight. Minutes passed. 10, 15. No lights, no sound. Concern overrode hesitation. Theo tried the handle. It turned. Inside, his eyes adjusted to a faint glow. Battery lanterns lit corners of what looked like a makeshift camp. Then he froze. The warehouse wasn't abandoned. It was transformed. Mattresses lined the walls, covered with clean sheets. Medical supplies filled makeshift shelves. People, men, women, even children, sat or lay quietly, waiting their turn. And in the center, wearing a stethoscope and moving with calm authority, was Vanessa. "The lungs sound better, Mr. Harrison," she said softly. "Finish all your antibiotics." Theo stood still, stunned. The woman who asked him for leftovers every Tuesday was running an underground clinic for the homeless. A man in his 50s noticed him. "Who are you?" he demanded. Vanessa looked up, and her face drained of color. "Theo," she breathed, "I can explain." "How long?" Theo asked quietly. She hesitated. 8, maybe 9 months. 9 months? He looked around. "You've been running a clinic while asking me for food." Vanessa's shoulders sagged. "I can't work in hospitals anymore. They say it's liability, not discrimination, but it doesn't matter. No one hires a nurse in a wheelchair. So I found another way." She told him about Thomas, a homeless veteran she'd treated when no one else would. He'd healed and told others. Soon, dozens came seeking help she couldn't turn away. She'd found this empty warehouse, set up with donated supplies and her own disability money, $3.50 a month after rent. "I buy what I can. The pharmacist from my old job helps me under the table. Your food feeds everyone here every Tuesday." Theo's chest tightened. "You spend almost everything you have on this?" "What else would I spend it on?" she whispered. "After the accident, I lost everything. My job, my fiancé, my friends. But when I treat these people, I matter again." Theo knelt beside her wheelchair. "You haven't lost anything that defines you. You're stronger than anyone I've met." She gave a small, tired smile. "I'm just surviving." "Not anymore," Theo said. "You're not doing this alone." From that night onward, Theo became part of the secret. He started bringing more than leftover food, fresh groceries, medical gloves from a friend at a hospital, spare blankets from the diner's storeroom. He even wired a small heater into the warehouse's main line, so the patients wouldn't freeze. Every night after closing, he'd drive across the city with supplies stacked in the truck bed. "You don't have to do this," Vanessa often said. He always answered the same way. "Neither do you." Their partnership grew quietly, hidden beneath the noise of the city. She treated the forgotten. He kept them warm and fed. Somewhere between those long nights, friendship turned into something deeper, gentle, unspoken, but undeniable. Then one evening, the news broke. The city council announced the demolition of the warehouse district to make room for new developments. The building Vanessa uses on the list, set for clearance within 30 days. She tried to stay calm, but her voice trembled when she said, "If they close this place, these people have nowhere to go." Theo spent the next week making calls to hospitals, churches, city shelters, but no one would take them in. Too risky, too crowded. No license. Every door closed. On the 9th night, Theo sat in the diner staring at a blank napkin. Then he began to draw. Lines, arrows, routes, an idea forming from desperation. By morning, he had a sketch of a mobile care delivery system, a network that would move supplies and nurses across the city, using small delivery vans retrofitted as clinics. It was simple, cost-efficient, and fast. Vanessa looked at the napkin and laughed softly. "You realize this is genius, right?" "I just want to keep your clinic alive," he said. But someone else would soon realize just how valuable his drawing was. 2 weeks later, a woman in a gray suit entered Theo's diner. She was sharp, confident, and clearly out of place in the modest surroundings. "I'm looking for Theodore Johnson," she said. "That's me." She introduced herself as Elizabeth Parker, CEO of Mason Logistics, a delivery company making headlines for losing nearly $40 million after system failure disrupted their distribution chain. "I heard," Theo said. "It was all over the news." She placed a crumpled napkin on the counter. "Our CFO found this in a public folder at the city's redevelopment office. It has your signature." Theo blinked. He'd left a copy of his sketch there while applying for a permit to relocate Vanessa's clinic. "This drawing," Elizabeth continued, "is a smarter routing model than anything our analysts have produced in 6 months. If this is really yours, I want to know how you designed it." Theo explained his background in logistics. Before the diner, he'd worked 10 years as a route planner. He told her about the system, how it could reroute deliveries in real time using adaptive mapping to cut waste and idle time. She listened intently, her sharp gaze softening. "You drew this on a napkin?" "Sometimes the best ideas come when you're desperate." Elizabeth stood, thoughtful. "You may have just saved my company." Within weeks, Mason Logistics implemented Theo's design. The results were staggering. Costs dropped, routes shortened, efficiency soared. The company not only recovered, but gained over $40 million in savings by year's end. Elizabeth called Theo to headquarters. "We owe you a debt we can't repay," she said. "What do you want?" Theo didn't hesitate. "I want funding for a mobile medical network, for people who have nothing. I already know the first nurse I'll hire." Months later, the first Hope on Wheels van rolled out of Mason Logistics Distribution Center. It bore the company logo and a new slogan, delivering more than packages, delivering hope. Inside, the shelves gleamed with fresh supplies. The driver's seat had been adjusted for wheelchair access. Vanessa sat there, tears glistening as she ran her hands over controls. "You did this," she whispered. "We did this," Theo corrected. From that day forward, dozens of vans spread through the city, bringing care to underprivileged neighborhoods, shelters, and alleyways. Each carried a small plaque near the door, in memory of Laura Johnson, who believed kindness could feed the world. Theo stood beside Vanessa as the first patient stepped inside the van. It was Mr. Harrison, the same man she'd treated months ago in the warehouse. He smiled at her, stronger now, his voice steady. "Looks like you upgraded. Document." Vanessa laughed through tears. "Thanks to him." She looked at Theo, her heart full. "And to her," she added, touching the plaque. The wind carried the faint scent of diesel and rain as the van drove off. Theo watched it disappear into the city. The same city that had once taken everything from them, now giving something back. He felt Laura with him. He felt hope again. And though he'd only meant to sketch a solution for a clinic, he'd unknowingly saved a company, rebuilt a woman's purpose, and created a legacy that would outlive them both. Because sometimes a napkin holds more than ink. Sometimes it holds the blueprint for miracles.